Zdravo! Welcome to the beginner course in Serbian language, made by Serbian Language Network. I'm your tutor, Nikola, and today I'm going to show you how to make your own and very first sentence in Serbian language, independently. This course is planned out through 9 or 10 lessons. In those lessons, we can cover everything from reading and pronunciation, asking questions, gender of nouns and adjectives, most common adjectives, most common verbs, present tense, piecing together verbs in a sentence, and finally, how to introduce yourself and how to talk about your daily routine in present tense. So, if you're ready, we can start. First lesson shows you the learning plan. How do we teach Serbian here? Of course, Serbian is a very complicated language. It is very different from English, if English is your native language. In order to properly master the Serbian, or at least know some basic stuff in order to make your own sentence, we have to cover a little bit of grammar. Throughout the course, we will learn grammar, vocabulary, and use them in exercises and again in conversations. Grammar is a useful tool to know, especially if you want to talk with people. We will use grammar as a tool to build your own sentences. We will not focus on theory, we will only use it as a tool. So if you're ready, we can start. Here's the map of the language that we speak in the Balkans, one of the languages, and it is spoken in different countries. Theoretically, this language is one or the same in all of these countries, linguistically at least. We call it differently different countries: Serbian, Croatian, Bosnian, or Montenegrin. There are more similarities than there are differences. Serbian and Croatian, for example, are different in vocabulary mostly, while syntax structure and grammar is mostly the same. So if you learn Serbian, Croatian, or Bosnian, you're actually learning more than one language, and you can communicate with those people in these countries as well. You may have heard that Serbian language has two alphabets. There is one that we call official alphabet, azbuka, which is Cyrillic, given here in red letters, and there is Latin alphabet, abeceda. Azbuka is official alphabet, which means that it's used, for example, for writing books in schools that children learn out of. All of the government-related papers and papers that you need to move to Serbia or live in Serbia will be written in Azbuka and Cyrillic alphabet. So I highly suggest learning that if you want to move or work in Serbia. Abeceda, on the other hand, is quite common and very frequent, maybe more frequent than Azbuka, when communicating online. Every news article will mostly be written in abeceda and in Latin alphabet. Every message that you can read, every comment on different social platforms will be written in abeceda. That's why my lessons are first taught or given in abeceda, the Latin one, which is kind of the more frequent alphabet today. Here we have Cyrillic, which is listed in the correct order. Abeceda is not listed in the specific order that we learn it in school in Serbia, but I changed it a bit because you can compare it to Azbuka. These letters on the left and these on the right are completely the same. They are looked different, but they are same in the way you pronounce them. Today we're gonna learn pronunciation of letters first. I will read the letters and you can repeat after me. Before we start, let me tell you that there are 5 vocals that are short and open: A, O, I, E, and U. Those are 5 vowels, and all the rest are consonants. The way we're going to learn the alphabet is reading consonant with that sound at the end. So we're not going to read it as B, V, or G, or B, V, or G. We're going to read it as B, V, and G. So, if you're ready, we can start. I will read from the top. The first letter is A, B, V, G, D, J. J is usually the tricky one. I'm going to explain how to pronounce it precisely after we finish. E, J, Z, I, J, K, L, Lj, M, N, Nj, O, P, R, S, T, Ć, U, F, H, C, Č, Dž, Š. You may notice that there are letters that are quite similar to one another. For example, can you notice the difference between J and J? These letters are quite similar. The difference is in the place where you pronounce these two letters, place in your mouth. This is the J letter here, which is kind of probably the most tricky one of them all here. The way that you pronounce this letter is kind of combining letters D and Y. That's the best advice I can give you. If you try pronouncing D and Y together, J, you'll get really close to the place where you should pronounce letter J at the end. So J is soft, placed in the middle part of your mouth, using the middle section of your tongue. While J, on the other hand, here is more to the front, combining letters D and J, literally. It's more explosive, like in word John, while J is more soft, like in word Duke, for example. So J and J. There is also very, very close difference between J and Ch. J is the one here, and Ch is the one here. So what's the difference? Difference is in the starting part of the letter. So here we have T and Y together. T and Y will give you T, and that's very close to Ch. These two letters are pronounced in the same way. The difference is in activity of your vocal cords. Here your vocal cords are more active, here they're silent. If you whisper this letter, you'll end up with this. So J here and Ch here. Other letters that are very tricky to some students are letters Ch, which is consisted of T and Sh, and letter C, T and S. So we have Ch and C. Other letters that are very specific to Serbian are letters R, which is vibrant, R. It can be both a consonant and a vowel. Letters Lj and Nj are also tricky sometimes. And that would be it. Now, if you're interested in practicing this, you can scroll back to the beginning of this section where I pronounce the letters, or you can listen to one of my episodes, Serbian for Beginners, of Serbian Language Podcast, where there is an episode of Serbian letters, reading and pronunciation. You can also find a lot of material on YouTube. So that would be it for pronouncing specific letters. It takes some practice to master them, but once you master this, it's actually very easy from there on to read in Serbian. Serbian has phonetic reading system, which means that the word that you learn them as here, that's how you read it in a sentence. There is no other combination of letters that make different sounds, like in English or French maybe. In Serbian, it's pretty straightforward. Now you can combine these letters in Latin alphabet with Cyrillic, and you can learn them at the same time, depending if you need a Cyrillic or Latin alphabet first. Vowels are here, and they are compared to English, so A, O, I, E, U, and consonants, a table of comparison here. Some letters like R or, for example, H don't exist maybe in most of the standard English, but here are some of the words I found on the internet that you can compare it to, at least. Now, there are innovations in Serbian alphabet, which means that these letters, which look like they're in English, will not be the same. They will have these signs at the top, which make them different. So if you want to learn how to write, here's a guide, one of the guides. Some letters are written in two parts because they have a part of each sound combined together. Here are some mistakes you can find if you try to read stuff online. These letters sh, j, and j are often written like this, without these signs at the top. That's a common mistake, don't worry. People just don't have the signs turned on their keyboard. And also this letter j is written like this, so don't get confused. That's also a mistake, and very common one that you can find on the internet. So this is the only way to write that letter, with j. Okay, now that we officially have pronunciation out of the way, here are a couple of rules of reading. Actually, there's only one rule. Read as you learned in the alphabet table. Serbian language has phonetic reading system. What does that mean? It means that the word that you learn them in the alphabet, that way you pronounce it, will be the same way you will pronounce it when reading words or sentences. There will be no additional rules when making words together, like in English, for example. So it will be fairly easy. Here's an example, rain. Separately, those letters are R, A, I, N. Together they form a different sound, rain. In Serbian, verb for rain is kisha. Separately, those letters are k, I, sh, a, and now they make a new word, kisha. You just piece them together. If you will be reading a word rain in Serbian way of reading, which of course is incorrect, we would read it as rain, which is a maybe interesting example. So Serbian alphabet equals Serbian pronunciation. After each segment, we usually have an exercise. Here's an exercise of reading. And let's try reading the following words. You can pause after I read these, and after me you can repeat. Here are some words. I'll read them and you can repeat. Voda, vetar, dete, dečak, devojčica, želja, šuma, njiva, sveća, prst, tvrd, pčela, ljubav, zvezda, đurđevak, cvrčak. You probably know these words below. These are international words. Adresa, energija, koncert, anatomija, fizika, fotografija, stres, avantura, generacija, iluzija, humor, muzej, turista. Now, the stress usually follows on the first syllable in Serbian language. It will be voda, not voda. Vetar, not vetar. But the longer the word, more chance to move it to the right. It will be devojčica, not devojčica, for example. All of this is learned as we go through lessons and through examples. Okay. We have two tongue twisters to practice r. R in Serbian is vibrant. And here's how to pronounce it in these tongue twisters. First one is riba, ribi, grize, rep. Riba, ribi, grize, rep. The second one is na vrh brda vrba mrda. Na vrh brda vrba mrda. R can be hard here in the second one, especially because it's between consonants, and in these occasions it acts as a vocal, as a vowel. Okay, so that's reading and pronunciation of letters. If you have any question, you can also write me on my email or on my website about reading. But again, you can listen to the podcast episode to repeat the pronunciation and certain letters. Now we have a second segment here, which is vocabulary. And as this is a beginner lesson and the first lesson, we have greetings. So here's some list of greetings. You can write down, and that would be actually very good suggestions, to write down all the new words and vocabulary. Have a notebook or a Word document, doesn't really matter, a place where you can collect all of the words that we learn throughout the course. You can use this PowerPoint as an example. So, dobar dan means good afternoon or good day. It's a formal greeting in Serbian. Dobro jutro is good morning. Dobro veče is good evening. Zdravo is hello. Ciao is hi, but also bye. Doviđenja is goodbye. Laku noć is good night. Below we have some phrases. Kako si, kako ste, which means how are you. it's written in singular and in plural. We'll talk more about that after. Ja sam dobro, hvala, I'm good, thank you. Ja sam, for example, ja sam Nikola, drago mi je, I'm Nikola, nice to meet you. Ja se zovem Nikola, two ways to say your name. I am or my name is, essentially. Hvala, which means thank you. Nema na čemu, which means you're welcome. Kako se zoveš, which means what's your name. And koliko imaš godina, how old are you? Interesting thing about these last two questions is that they literally mean, the first one means how do you call yourself, literally, and the second means how many years do you have. But of course, they are translated as in English, what's your name and how old are you. We have two sentences, the first one which means I'm learning Serbian, and the second one means I'm speaking or I speak English. Ja is in here in brackets, in parentheses, because it can be left out. You can say učim srpski and govorim engleski. So that's vocabulary, a quick review of the most common greetings in Serbian. The rest will be learned and will be given throughout the course. For now, that's good. Now we have a grammar part. Here we have a table with personal pronouns. Personal pronouns are starting point for every language learning journey, not only Serbian, but English, Spanish, German, because they are very important when combining with verb to be, for example. We will learn both today. The goal of this lesson, by the way, is to make a full sentence by the end of this lesson and a full basic sentence using personal pronoun and the verb to be. So you can say, I am a student, I am happy, or similar. Personal pronouns in Serbian, at the first glance, in singular at least, are quite similar to English. Ja is I, ti is you, on, ona, ono is he, she, or it. We have three genders as in English. Mi is we is you, and then we have again three genders in Serbian. In English we have one in plural. So oni is plural of on, one is plural of ona, and ona is plural of ono. You might notice that we have two ona, one in singular, one in plural. The one here is feminine singular, the one here is neuter gender plural. Don't worry, you won't mix them up, because based on the context, you always know what is someone talking about. And neutral gender is not as common as other genders in Serbian. Now, every grammar part usually will be given in tables. There will be a lot of extensions to learn in Serbian, so I advise not to sit down and learn all of the extensions separately, but to have this table around you. Copy them, save it to your notes, copy it to your notebook, and just look at them when needed, because it will be a very stressful process to learn them all. One other thing to know here is categories of singular and plural. Singular is, of course, one person, plural, many people, and also categories of first, second, and third person. First person is person who is speaking. Second person is the person who you're speaking to. And third person is person who you're talking or speaking about. Let's move on to the next slide. Here's one slide where you can practice personal pronouns. This is like a memory game. So let's see. You have a sentence with a blank and voliš da igraš fudbal. So I can come here. We have personal pronoun you. So of course write ti. If you're stuck and you don't remember, just scroll back up so you can find the one that you need. Blank voli da sluša muziku. So you will write down on. On voli da sluša muziku. Vi hoćete da idete u Srbiju. Mi možemo da idemo u restoran. Ona svira violinu. Ja sam inženjer. Oni rade u turističkoj agenciji. And one moraju da idu kući. This exercise should be fairly easy. It's just a memory game. The next exercise uses more of what personal pronoun actually does. Personal pronoun replaces other words in sentences. For example, you can say, the dog is in the park, or you can say, it is in the park. We have a word here, Marko, which is a name for a boy in Serbian, or a male, or a guy. So instead of Marko, we use he, on je student. If you're stuck, read the translation in brackets. So Marko je student, you say on je student. You can pause here and watch me do this after you finish your part and check your answers. Ana je profesorka would be ona je profesorka. Ti i Miloš učite zajedno. You and Miloš study together. So you're talking to a group of people in second person plural. It will be vi učite zajedno, because you're talking to them. Petar studira istoriju, a Ivana studira hemiju. So Petar is a boy, we'll say on. And Ivana is a girl, so we'll say ona. Da li su dječaci kod kuće? Are the boys at home? And the answer will be yes, they are at home. Because we have a group of boys, it will be oni. That's group of masculine plural, which you can find here. If it was girls, it will be one. So that's how personal pronouns look like. There's nothing much to it other than that. Now, personal pronouns are combined with the verb to be. Here's an example. Verb to be is how to say I am, you are, he is, and similar. So ja sam, ti si, on je, mi smo, vi ste, oni su. You may notice that I pronounce it as if it was a one word, and that's the way you should actually do it, because this sam is a word without an accent. We call those words enclitics. Those types of words will often merge when speaking with other words which do have accents, like ja or ti. So remember, it's not ja sam, ti si, it's ja sam, ti si, and so on. This might be a reason why Serbian is very hard to understand at first, especially if someone is talking really fast. Here is an example. Da li si ti student? And the answer to that, da, ja sam student. So there are a couple of things here to know. You should use it for now with a personal pronoun, ja, ti, and so on. We call this a subject of a sentence, a person or a thing that is performing an action, or which is in some kind of state. So we use it with personal pronouns as we should or would use it in English, and then we'll finish the sentence, finish our meaning of the sentence with a noun, adjective, or an adverb. You can say ja sam student, ja sam učenik. You can use an adjective, ja sam srećan, I'm happy. You can use an adverb, for example, ja sam ovdje, I'm here. So that's it about verb to be. Let's go to the next page where you have exercise to connect them. So again, pause here if you want to check your answers. Personal pronoun on the left and verb to be on the right. Ja goes with sam, oni goes with su, ona goes with je. If it's plural, you can go with su in neutral gender. That's here. Ona, su, or ona, je. Mi smo, on je, ti si, one su, vi ste, ono je, and ona je. There you go. Okay, we have an exercise here where we need to connect a personal pronoun with the verb to be in the same person. That's one important thing. Personal pronouns and verb to be share same person. Every verb to be in each person is different. Sam, si, je, smo, ste, su. That means you have to be very precise which personal pronoun you use it with. Ja and sam, that's the only combination that can be possible. You cannot say ti sam or on sam, like in English in singular. I am, not you am. Next example would be, you are from Serbia and she is from Croatia. So ti si iz Srbije, ona je iz Hrvatske. Marko je učenik, oni su srećni, mi smo zajedno 6 mjeseci, vi ste majstori na gradilištu, Ana i Nena su u gradu, deca su na polju, ona je najbolja učenica, and one su najbolje drugarice. When you speak about a person or a name, for example, Marko, that's third person, as if you're using third person. So it will be je, because a person who we're talking about is third person. Doesn't matter if it's a name for a person, group of people, or if it's a personal pronoun he, she, it, or they. Okay, Usually at the end of each lesson, after we cover a certain topic, there is a text. Here we have 2 text exercises. They are adjusted to the beginner level. On the left we have pasoška kontrola, passport control. I'll read the text and I'll translate at the end. You can try, again, reading and using my recording as an example, and then translate and again use my translation as an example to compare. Ok, dobro jutro. Dobro jutro, vaš pasoš molim. Izvolite. Vi ste gospodin Marković? Da, ja sam Nenad Marković. Vi ste turista? Ne, ja sam biznismen. Vaš adres u Beogradu? Hotel Metropol. Izvolite pasoš. Hvala. Okay. So this text should have translation like this. Good morning. Good morning. Your passport, please. Here you go. You're Mr. Marković? Yes, I'm Nenad Marković. You're a tourist? No, I'm a businessman. Your address in Belgrade? Hotel Metropol. Here's your passport. Thank you. That's the translation of the first exercise. It uses greetings from the slide number 2. It uses verb to be with personal pronouns, as here. So after each topic that we cover, we tend to use those stuff and grammar that we covered in the text and with the vocabulary. Second text, Nenad uči srpski jezik. Dobro večer, Nenade, kako ste? Zdravo, ja sam dobro, hvala. Kako ste vi? Dobro sam, hvala. Šta radite danas? Danas učim srpski jezik. Vi pričate srpski? Razumem mnogo, ali govorim malo. Translation, Nenad learns Serbian language. Good evening, Nenad. How are you? Hello, I'm good, thank you. How are you? I'm good, thank you. What are you doing today? Today I'm learning Serbian language. You speak Serbian? I understand a lot, but I speak a bit, or little. So there's the translation. The second text is slightly harder. That's how the lessons look like. Now, don't worry if you don't get everything at first. Some people have more interest in learning a language or more language skills that are needed. Some people are better with communication, some people are better with grammar. So don't worry at all. You can learn at your own pace, which is the purpose of these video lessons. There will be a lot of stuff that you won't recognize at first and you don't know what it means. Serbian language is hard, so be patient and everything will come together like a puzzle. There you go. I hope that you enjoyed this first lesson and we'll see each other in the next one. Vidimo se!